The candidate the Democrats put up to replace the flasher, Wiener, was an Orthodox Jew with impeccable
Bob Wetbren.
Yeah, impeccable Israeli credentials.
How could he go for the Democrat? That's what I'm asking.
How did they go for the Republican?
They went for Turner.
I'll tell you why they went for the Republican, because, and this is something that Ed
he went
Cox
for the
and
Republican.
they voted. The Republican won.
Okay.
And it won by 7 points. When I met with Ed Cox for the first time, the Nixon's son-in-law and the New York State GOP chairman, I said to him 6 weeks before this election, the first time I heard about it even, is that he said to me that if we could just come close to the Democratic tally, that would be a big victory for the Republicans. And we won. Okay? And the reason we won, of course, Ed Koch endorsed the but the reason we won is because we were able to push this the button, this Israel button, among the Jewish voters, and we made them focus on this. Okay? And once they were focused on that, just like the American Jews here. I mean, American Jews in Israel, most of them are Democratic. They come from the same, background as the American Jews.
Justice.
And they're voting 3-1 Republican here. And the reason for that is because they see things in a different perspective. So we tried to bring that perspective to the 9th District elections, and we won. And we're going to try to do that now in the swing states where there are significant Jewish populations,
and
like
how
Florida
do you do
and
it?
Ohio.
How do you do it?
Phone banks from here. We're going to have somebody liaise with the campaigns in those states. We'll go over. I'll be there. Other people to speak to senior citizens groups and other, just to have them focus on this. And what's the message? The message is very simple. Look, the state of Israel is being delegitimized around the world by the vast majority of the international community. The Jewish people is under attack. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. There are 13 million Jews on this planet, and the number is not exactly growing at a fast rate.
Thanks to me.
Well, I'm not blaming you, okay?
No.
But I mean, it happens.
I understand that. No.
If we, the Jews, can't figure out how to vote in what's our best interest in terms of Jewish issues, then no one else is going to help us. So either you put aside your other concerns about very important and
so be Jewish
and
first.
issues and put your Jewish concerns now in this election at the top of your list, you will vote for the Republican.
But you know what's sad with Obama? That even if he was sincere, which I don't believe he was sincere about Israel, who are the people surrounding him? All radical Jews that don't care about Israel. So even if you would listen to them, thinking that he's doing what Israel needs.
I tell you for one thing, I don't take kindly to broad generalizations of that sort. Okay, he has a lot of people around him who are very left-wing in their Jewish points of view, okay? On the other hand, I don't know his chief of staff, but he's an observant Jew, okay? And I would be surprised if he would be, extremely left-wing in this regard. I don't know him. But the fact is, the president himself, the president is not, he's a very intelligent man. He's one of the most intelligent presidents who ever elected. He's extremely articulate and very well-read. And he knows exactly what he's doing. I'm not one of these. I don't blame it on a man that's being led by the nose by his advisors and so on. He's picked his advisors because they are resonating and oscillating with his point of view, and he's entitled to that. The American people just needs to be aware of what he thinks on this.
And Mark, how would you characterize his views on Israel and Palestine? And do you gain any assurance from his statements in the last few weeks?
I think he's more or less indifferent to Israel. I think he's sympathetic to the Palestinian cause.
Because of his background?
Don't do that. I'm not going there.
Okay.
I don't have to answer that question. I don't want to answer it. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze him. I'm talking about his record.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
That's what I meant. I meant in his record as a person.
As a record as President of the United States. Okay? He and his team misconceived the significance of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in the Middle East picture as a whole, and misconceived the role of settlements in the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and those two major misconceptions led to a gross errors in the conduct of U.S. foreign policy in the region, resulting actually doing exactly the opposite of what he wanted to accomplish. That is to achieve a Palestinian-Israeli peace. He wanted to achieve that. I think he was sincere about that. But he went about it in a way that was exactly the opposite of what he should have done, and he ended up causing more damage than if he would have just stayed out of the taking a neutral role altogether.
But Mark, is it neutral when Romney gives a speech last night in which the word Palestinian does not appear? Are you concerned on that score that he also maybe can embarking on a gross error?
I think the President of the United States should focus on what's important to the American people, and that's fixing its economy.
Yes, but when you talk about a global delegitimization, when you talk about global, thank you. You talk about global delegitimization.
Yep.
Those people are holding up the name Palestinian over and over. Don't you have to respond to those people at some level?
And he will, okay? And he has in the past.
Yeah.
On this trip, what he was doing was something extremely important. He was reaffirming that special nexus between the United States and Israel, and in that context, he wasn't hedging his words. He showed a deep commitment to restoring that relationship, something that this administration has worked hard to weaken, or I won't say destroy, but weaken. Okay,
yes.
And I think it's important that we get back to that, because the fact is, there are some 200 nation states on the planet. Most of them are opposed to Israel in some fashion or another. A large number of them belong to the Islamic nation bloc or to other groups of nations that are influenced by them. And Israel has very few friends on the planet. Okay, the one friend that it could count on generally in the past was the United States.
Yes.
And this president has decided to take a different tack.
Yes.
Okay, it didn't work. He admits it didn't work. He admits it failed.
Yes.
Okay, and all I'm saying is, and what Romney is saying, I'm not saying, you don't care what I say, what Romney is saying is that he wants to return it to a situation where the United States and Israel are together. I'll tell you something. When Israel knows that the United States is firmly has its interest at heart, Israeli leadership is prepared to take all kinds of risks, and they've done that in the past. I'm not telling you I would like to, as an individual, would like to see those kind of risks. If the United States expects to get anywhere with any kind of negotiated settlement to this conflict, they cannot have Israel feeling that the United States is not in its corner.
Okay.